Alright lads, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the one and only, the big and scary T29. This is actually an old fighter in War Thunder. It's been a while for quite a few years now. But with the recent battle rating changes and vehicles such as the Leopard 1 going up to 8.0, the T29 as well as a lot of the other heavy tanks are seeing a new lease of life. I've already done a video on the Tiger 2 Premium SLA, so I thought I may as well go back and cover the T29. One of the staple premiums of the American tech tree. You have to buy this premium from the Guardian store for the cost of £35 sterling, which is about $45 US and 45 euros. For that we get the fantastic T29 heavy tank, as well as 1,000 golden eagles and 7 days of premium time. This tank sits in the 4th rank of the American tech tree. It's of course a premium heavy tank, and it sits at battle rating 7.0 for arcade and realistic, and 6.7 in simulator. It costs you 3,500 silver lions to repair the vehicle, and it has a crew train cost of 10,000 silver lions. Seeing as this tank is a heavy tank with a large caliber main gun, I would highly recommend investing in the expert qualification. It only costs you 440,000 silver lions, and will drastically bring that reload time down. Better yet, if you can afford the ace qualification, that's 1,100 golden eagles. In terms of reward multipliers, and bear in mind I do use a premium account, for our RP it is 1.9 base, which gives us 570%. And for our silver line modifier we've got a base of 2.0, which gives us 600%. So with its decent mobility, thick frontal armour, and its high velocity 105mm gun, is it worth parting with your hard earned money to get that new deal T29? Or also like Roosevelt, does playing this tank make your brain bleed? Alright boys, so the T29, it's not a super heavy tank compared to something like the Maus or something more akin to the German tech tree. It's got a lot more power to weight ratio than something like a Tiger 2. It's powered by a 770 horsepower engine. Combined with the weight of 64.2 tons, it gives us a power to weight ratio of 12.0 horsepower per ton. Now you certainly aren't going to be winning the Indy 500 with this vehicle, but it does give you a surprisingly good mobility for such a heavily armoured tank. Our top speed of 36 km per hour is quite slow though, but surprisingly our reverse speed of 14 km per hour is a lot better than you would expect. The tank also feels surprisingly snappy. It's like the gear ratios are very low, giving you quite a poor top speed, but very good torque and pretty good acceleration. So you can advance and then retreat very quickly. It makes this tank a very good brawler. If we take a look at this cutaway, we can see that the T29 has a crew of 6 men. We've got a driver and machine gun located in the hull of the vehicle, and 2 loaders, a commander and a gunner located in the turret. If we turn the camera to the side for a cross-sectional look at the vehicle, we can see that the majority of the inside of the tank is taken up by essential assets, whether that's your engine, ammunition, or your crew members. So taking any sort of incoming round here is going to almost certainly take you back to the hangar. Following the trend of mid-war American World War II tanks, the majority of the ammunition is stored on the floor of the hull. This poses a major fire hazard, and most enemies are going to shoot you here from the side aspect. This is common in many American vehicles, so the War Thunder player base will be aware of this. So don't try to angle in this tank, keep your thickest part of your armour directly heading towards the enemy. But if you're watching this video to find out how to destroy T29s, then shoot them in the lower hull. Anyway, going on to the armour protection itself, and our lower frontal plate is 70mm thick, but due to the angling, it's around 192mm effective thickness. The upper frontal plate is thicker at around 4 inches or 102mm, and it is angled at 50 degrees, giving it an effective thickness of around 160mm. Now, 160mm thickness at battle rating 7.0 isn't particularly good to be honest, and a lot of medium and heavy tanks will be able to go straight through your upper frontal plate. The same can be said for the turret breech as well, or the gun mantlet. It's only 8 inches thick or 203mm. A lot of German medium and heavy tanks will be able to go straight through this. The long barrel 75 and the 8mm guns can cleave basically straight through it. You also can't angle the turret as the side of the turret cheeks are 158mm thick, which gives you around 170 effective thickness, so the thickest part of your armour is actually that gun mantlet. Taking a look at the side armour, and remember this is where our vital ammunition store is located, and we have 3 inches of armour here, or 76mm, so you can see why this is such an enticing place to shoot if you are facing this tank side on. Even most battle rating 3.7 tanks would be able to kill this thing from the side, so as I said, never try to angle your armour. And finally boys, for the side of the turret, it's 158mm thick all the way around. While it's an impressive feat of engineering just how they managed to cast an entire turret like this, sadly it doesn't give you great protection at this battle rating. And that's pretty much it for the survivability. While the heavy tank guns will go straight through you, the armour of the T29 will keep you safe from the majority of the opponents that you're going up against. It also gives you fantastic protection against splintering from high explosive rounds. That includes artillery as well as bombs from close air support. So the survivability is quite high, and in combination with that great mobility, or great for a heavy tank, you can just full send it at the start of a match, hold W and roleplay as Rambo, and just advance in the enemy's direction. So our survivability and armour is decent. What about the gun? Well, we're fitted with the 105mm T5E2 cannon. This is the smaller brother of the gun fitted to the T34, but it certainly isn't lacking any firepower. We can carry 63 rounds of ammunition in total, with 8 of those rounds being classed as first stage ammunition. If you remember the introduction of this video, I recommended you to pick up the expert qualification, and that's because with a base crew this tank reloads every 16.25 seconds, but with an ace crew which costs you 1,100 golden eagles, you can get that down to 12.5 seconds, so a massive increase in performance from quite a low input cost. The tank also has 10 degrees of gun depression, which in combination with that great turret armour does allow you to go hull down quite effectively. Even though the tank is a late World War II vehicle, we don't have any sort of enhanced rangefinder, and we are quite lacking in the gun handling department to begin with. Anyway, let's go on to the ammunition, and we've got quite a few to choose from. Our stock round is the T32 Solid Shot APC BC. This has no explosive filler, but it travels at 914 meters per second and can penetrate over 250mm of armour at point blank range. You then have the T29E3. This is an APCR round, so it boasts fantastic flat penetration over 290mm, but due to the nature of APCR, it suffers very poorly against angled armour, so I would never recommend taking this into battle. It's not needed. It also has very bad post-pen damage due to its lack of explosive filler and sub-caliber nature. We also have the T30E1. This is a base fuse high explosive round, giving you 27mm of explosive penetration. And finally boys, we have the T13 APC BC round. Unlike our stock shell, this round actually does get an explosive filler, nearly 180 grams of TNT filler, and it still retains that over 250mm of penetration. So we have penetration and we have a big boom afterwards, combining the best of both worlds. The T13 APC BC is kind of the American equivalent of the Panzergranat found on the long-barreled 88mm. It's basically a point-and-click monster. The similarities between the Tiger II and the T29 are quite numerous. The Tiger II is more heavily armoured, but lacks the mobility, but it does have a faster firing gun, whereas the T29 fires slower, has slightly less protection, but moves a lot faster. Apart from the main gun, we also get 3 50 caliber machine guns. Yes, 3 of them. 2 of them are mounted coaxially alongside the main gun, and the last one is mounted on a pintle on top of the vehicle. This is quite a good thing. The pintle mounted 50 cal is controlled by the commander, but the 2 others are controlled by the gunner. So even if your commander gets knocked out, you still have some 50 cals available for you to spray down some light vehicles. So lads, on to the conclusion, and I think you know what I'm going to say. This is definitely worth it. For the cost of $40 or 40 euros, it's an absolute no-brainer if you're interested in grinding out the American tech tree. Its battle rating of 7.0 and the battle rating changes recently means that this tank is no longer facing the big bad heavies. You still do fight some of the Soviet tanks like the IS-6, which granted is a big problem, but you do have a lot of cast to deal with that. Even if you do get a full up tier to 8.0, there's very little those tanks can do against you. They usually are soft skin vehicles. And with the meta now being at 8.3, a lot of 8.0s now get dragged up anyway. so you are mainly going to be fighting 7.3s and 7.7s at a pinch. Those enemies will pose you a challenge, but they are certainly not unkillable. And in general, I've had a lot of fun coming back down from top tier and playing the T29 to relax a little bit. I grinded out a lot of the American Tetra using this tank many years ago, and if I had to do it all over again, from my experience over the last couple of days, I'd still enjoy playing this tank and I would happily grind out the Americans once again. Anyway lads, I don't want to take up any more of your precious time. If you made it to the end of the video, leave a comment saying Harry Truman, and as always boys, thank you very much for watching. Hey lads, if you made it this far into the video, then thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I have a whole load of other content on my channel, including tutorials and other vehicle reviews, so why not give them a watch, and if you like them, please do consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching though boys, I've been SAKO, and I'll see you in the next video.